What's going on, everybody? This is your host, Demetrius, with the PPP Panthers Prime Podcast. Hey, man, Will Levis. I think he might be a little bit better than Bryce Young. Let's talk about it. You know what time it is. Let's go. Today was Will Levis Pro Day. We already seen CJ Stroud. We seen Bryce Young yesterday. Now we on Will Levis. And I'm going to just go off of observation before I go into my notes here. But observation-wise, your man looked like Thor. He looked like a baby Thor. I mean, he had muscles popping out and everything, man. So I think out of the three quarterbacks, he's so far, we ain't got the AR yet. AR, he is on joint. But out of the three that we've seen this week, Will Levis is definitely the most physically fit, the most physically appealing to the eyes when you see an athlete. You know what I mean? So I have to give it up to him for that. He do look like he take care of his body. With that being said, let's get into the numbers. All right, so let's get into the numbers real quick. We got Will Levis. He's 23 years old, 6'3", and his weight is 232 pounds, which is maybe unofficial because this is ESPN. So I'll throw it up on the screen so y'all can see it. Yards this year was 2,406 yards. Had 19 touchdowns, and he had 10 interceptions. His QBR was 60.9 for this year. All right, cool. Remember that QBR number, all right? Remember that QBR, 60.9. So the things that I saw from his pro day today, I seen a lot of velocity with his throws. A lot of velocity, a lot of arm strength. And I think the one thing that gets us is the amount of speed that a ball is thrown at. Now, that's good in some cases, but not in all cases, okay? And I think this is the one thing that Will Levis is going to have an issue with when he gets into the league, and he has to be able to correct it now. There's some passes that can't be line drive passes. I mean, you're going to get picked off. We have DBs that are 6'3". you know what I mean? And if you're throwing it, you're 6'3", so you got to think you're throwing it at about right above your head. So let's add another maybe like 6, 7, 8 inches on top of that you're probably throwing the ball at or whatever. You're throwing line drives like that. You have DBs, safeties that are just about that tall with their hands up that can pick that ball off. I didn't really see a lot of arcing, like the touch passes that we've seen, CJ Stroud and some of what Bryce Young did yesterday, but I didn't see any of that on today with Will Levis. I mean, everything was just a line drive, straight to him. Like, even when I go back and I think about how Jake Delhomme did that last pass to C. Smith against the Rams.
14 from the 31 of Carolina. Delhomme fires to an open Smith. Steve Smith is going to go all the way. No flags down. Smith scores, and the Carolina Panthers win in overtime.
It was just a line drive for about 40 yards almost. And, he was open, but what if someone would have been in that throwing lane on that last play? That's a pick. That in today's game, that's a pick. Our athletes are just built differently nowadays than it was back then, and the coverages are just a little bit different than how it was back then. Someone would have been in that lane right now if Jake Delhomme would have threw that pass to Steve Smith in that game. I'm just sorry. That's just what I believe. So I think that he has great arm strength, and he doesn't even need to use his lower body. That's all just arm strength. And I think that that's another reason why he kind of gets into those issues of the line drive. There's really no leading into it with the foot, showing the direction, and just there's just no touch to his passes. He did exceptionally well when it came down to one deep pass. And Louis Riddick, made this point, really, really exceptionally well, that when he did the deep pass, the first one came out phenomenal. Second one, it was okay. But after he started getting past number 3, number 4, he really started to struggle with the distance of where the ball was being placed at. The receiver had to slow down and come back to the ball. And you know, in today's world, that's a pick all day. And then just the release of the ball. See, and that's why I say you have to be able to manage that arm strength, because if you're just out there throwing 98-yard, and I know the ballpark not going 98 yards, but just, you know, fastballs all day, your arm is going to get tired. You're playing an NFL game for 3.5 hours, maybe 4. I mean, you have to be able to sustain, and I don't see how he can sustain in an NFL game throwing that hard. Okay, so Will Levis, you know, just work on that real quick. He had a hard time also with his 15 and 20-yard dig routes and in-breaking routes. You know, really wasn't accurate when it came down to that. The ball was either placed on the wrong side. It was supposed to be inside, or it was supposed to be outside. It was outside when it was supposed to be inside. And, you know, it was just a lot of inconsistencies with that. And that is predominantly because of his footwork. Feet were, you know, just in the wrong position. So whoever he gets drafted to, they have to really work on his mechanics when it comes down to his footwork and our lower body mechanics. All right, so I'm gonna bring up this point right here. Remember, I told you to remember that 60.9 QBR. So his QBR for 2021 was a 77. And now, just to, you know, bring everything back into perspective, he was a transfer from Penn State. All right, so he transferred from Penn State to University of Kentucky in 2021. His QBR was 77, and in 22, his QBR was actually 61 or 60.9, so it went down. His sacks, and this could be a telling tale as well, his sacks for 2021 was 22 sacks on the year, but 2022, it was 36 sacks. So he took more sacks in this year than he did last year. And then his rushing TDs came down from 9 to 2. So he had 9 in 2021, 2 in this year. So, I mean, that could be attributed to a bad offensive line as well. But when we're looking at just Will Levis as a passer, he has great arm strength. He does. Bad footwork, horrible on his 15-yard, 20-yard dig routes, short ends, or whatever you want to call it. So many ways you can call it. But just that dig route that comes back. You know, if you throw it towards the inside of the receiver when it's supposed to be going towards the outside, towards the sideline, that's a pick all day. It's just a pick. It's going to be picked off all day long. So I think that that's something that he really has to get under control soon as possible if he wants to have any success in the league before people start deeming him as a bust. But that's how I feel. So how do you guys feel? Have y'all seen the pro day? Did y'all check Will Levis pro day out? Tell me what you think. Drop it in the comment section. You know, hit the notification bell, subscribe. I thank you guys once again. You got me over 200 subs in less than a day, y'all. I mean, we started off today at like 153, and right now, the last time I checked, it was at 211. So thank you guys. I'm going to continue to keep bringing y'all videos after videos of good content, man. And just keep showing me love in the comments. I'm going to reply to every single person. I believe every single person who takes the time out to reply to me or say something to me, I have I have to reply back to you guys. And you know, it's all love. Ain't never gonna be no hate on here, y'all. Even when you don't agree with me, I'm gonna show you love. Yo, this is your boy Demetrius with the PPP Panthers Prime Podcast. You know what time it is. Let's go.